I do want to raise one more issue. Normally I do it under inquiries, but it's a COVID matter, COVID-related matter as it has been framed to me, and that is the external broadcasting of the call to prayer, which is called Azan. A number of the mosques and leaders in the Muslim community have approached me about it, and they're very interested in, within our noise bylaws, to broadcast externally the call to prayer. They find that it would be very inspirational during this COVID period, and it is Ramadan. It was cited to me that the church bells are permitted to ring, and so why not the call to prayer? Toronto is allowing it. Brampton is allowing it, as is Milton. We seem to be the outlier, and we do have a large Muslim community. If you ever watch BBC, you will see that many of the European cities are doing it as well. So I wanted to raise this with Council because it is being raised with me by numerous mosques. It started on Good Friday, and I responded that I said, well, it's a call to prayer. We don't want people to gather, and so we don't want to call them to the mosque. And they said, no, it's just very symbolic. They wouldn't come, they wouldn't gather. It's just very inspirational in this time of COVID. I realize this is new territory, and I'm raising it without raising it at the senior leadership team. Yeah, I apologize for springing this on you, but this has been an issue that was percolating as of Friday, and I spoke with Rabia Khadr just before Council, and I promised her I would raise it so that Council could discuss it, but I apologize that I didn't give you, Madam City Manager, or Andrea the heads up. So Andrea, is this something you're prepared to comment on, or do you want some time? Because it's very time sensitive as well. I think we only have a couple more weeks of Ramadan.
Madam Mayor, I understand the time sensitivities, so we will take this back and we will need to consult with enforcement, and we will provide you with a response.
Okay, because certainly other cities have found their way around their whatever bylaws are in place.
Through you, Madam Mayor, it would be the end of the day.
Okay, that doesn't help us because we're going to have to make a decision today and now. As my only concern was that you see Muslims pouring out of their houses and heading to their mosques. I have no problem with this. This might be a nice way to recognize our Muslim community, who have been really working hard with the food banks and doing a lot of work. I have no problem with it. I've been to the Middle East 5 times and the sound is beautiful. It doesn't bother me at all. Would this be one location, or would this be all over the city at simultaneous times? I think, Madam Mayor, one of the things you should do, and I shouldn't tell you what to do, is get some agreement from us today. And then if it turns out it's fine when they check the bylaw, because my understanding of our bylaws, that usually is after 11, or most people in the park over here at Huron Park are doing it all day long in the summer. So I think what we need to do is get an agreement today, and then if there's no problems with the bylaw, we go ahead. Now, my natural instinct, as Janice will probably know, is to say, to hell with the bylaw, to hell with the bylaw, to hell with the bylaw. If we decide it's a good idea, let's just do it anyway, and we can catch up the bylaw later.
I just wouldn't want to see it going 5 times a day when there's a mosque in a subdivision where people are working from home. I think that people are, a bit stressed, and we need to be respectful of everybody.
Like Councillor Parrish, I don't want to wait a week to amend a bylaw. I think it is not allowed in our current bylaw. So I would suggest that we move a motion today that we direct staff to not enforce that portion of the bylaw until such time as we can make the amendment. It only happens at sunset, and it's really no different than having church bells, except that's only once a week. perhaps we could say from the usual place of prayer. Because I would have no objection. One of mine, the largest one, is using a church building, and I don't know whether the church would allow that or not. That's up to them to work out.
I would also point out that I've been made aware that we also had a request at one point to broadcast from City Hall.
If it was being done throughout the day, then we had some issues with people, exactly like Councillor Mahoney said, working from home. I did ask by law enforcement about this prior to giving my answer about noise bylaw to the Amans at M&N. And I went on the regulations that we have right now in place, which is no. So I'm glad to see that it's only going to be at the end of the day. I have absolutely no issue with it only being that one time a day. So if we can get that in a resolution today, I think that would be very helpful.
Madam Mayor, I would think that under your authority, under the emergency declaration, you could probably declare that bylaw amended anyway. That gives you a lot of very, additional powers that you would not normally have. And I see Andrew waving her hand, so I'm probably going to be told, no, she can't do that.
Unfortunately, you don't have the authority under the emergency powers because this is not part of the emergency plan.
How long does the call to prayer go on? Because I have one of the larger mosques that is right up against residential. And if it's during sundown, and at this point, that's when the kids are trying to go to sleep, how loud is this going to be? Am I going to be faced with a number of different noise complaints? So I just want to know a little bit more about it before I say yes.
Councillor, have you had any complaints to date? Have you had any complaints to date?
Nope.
Because they have been doing it. Because they have been doing it. Because they have been doing it. I learned that this morning, but we were going to fix that depending on which direction we went. Well, no one complained either.
I just wanted to confirm. One is that this is going to be once a day. That also this is just for places of worship, and also that it's just during the time of Ramadan.
Those are the parameters, and in fact, we could make it a pilot project. We could make it a pilot project. We could make it a pilot project. Because it was positioned to me very much that it would be inspirational in this time of COVID.
Okay, I'm not sure the pilot project is the way, but I think that having those parameters, and my other concern here too is that it's not a call for people to actually attend the mosque.
I just wanted to make that comment because I have a significant number of prayer rooms within apartment buildings, and then I do have a mosque that is actually in an apartment building.
The motion, as I have it now, that the enforcement of the noise control bylaw 360-79 as amended be suspended for the broadcasting of the evening call to prayer from local mosques and any other non-residential buildings regularly used for worship for the period of Ramadan in the year 2020 up to May 24th, 2020, provided the call is broadcast only once per day for a maximum of 5 minutes, and that is not a call for people to physically gather in contravention of Regulation 52/20. Okay, I'll just call the vote in that case. Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
Ward 5? Ward 6?
Yes.
Ward 7?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Ward 8?
Yes.
Ward 9?
Yes.
Ward 10?
Yes.
Ward 11?
Yes.
And myself. I vote for it as well, so I'll make sure that my office communicates this to the stakeholder community, and if you could reach out to your mosques as well, and I'm sure once we tell Rabia, it'll get spread out through the Muslim Council of Appeals.